everyone, I am Anthropomantic Fiend, and I do horror-related things on the internet. So today, I am doing the Dark Mothers of Horror tag from Kweeny Todd. They are awesome. Please check their channel out if you haven't. I assume you're here because you like their channel. If you haven't, please go. This is a tag that was created for Women in Horror Month, but I haven't really done anything for that because I have been so invested in reviewing this box set that it's kind of just turned into Bela Lugosi month for me, which I don't have a problem with, but, you know, I thought I'd do this tag because I thought it was a cool idea. I don't really have to preface that with anything else, but to say that in order to talk about this topic properly, I'm going to spoil basically every movie that I'm talking about here. If you haven't seen any movie that I'm going to be bringing up and you don't want it spoiled for me, just go and watch it and then come back and watch this video because I really like all the movies I'm going to be talking about, for the most part. Let's get into the tag. What makes a dark mother in a horror film for you? Why are horror mothers so scary as an archetype? A dark mother is taking the archetype of this maternal, loving, nurturing figure and either subverting it or inverting it so that the character that should be nurturing becomes this domineering, abusive character, or just taking that motherly, nurturing thing and twisting it or putting it in a context where it becomes horrifying. That is how I define the Dark Mother, and it's scary because, of course, most people kind of expect a mother figure to be loving and caring, and when you take that and you subvert it or you twist it, it's gonna make you uncomfortable or, going further than that, horrify you. So that is why they're scary as an archetype. Or for people like I know, Kweeny Todd, their mother wasn't the greatest. If they have been in a relationship with someone who embodies the Dark Mother archetype, that could sort of strike a chord with them in another way. It kind of goes both ways. Either way, it's gonna have an impact, probably. Who is your favorite unstable mother of horror? This is one that has already been talked about. The horror miser Monty G brought this up in his entry for this video, and that is Margaret White from Carrie. He brought this up for a different part, but he still brought her up. She is so just religious and devout that it's kind of destroyed any kind of sense of human empathy in her, and she just sort of thinks in terms of religious fanaticism, and it results in an abusive relationship with Carrie, and Margaret eventually trying to kill Carrie because she thinks she's, you know, Satan's spawn. I don't really need to say anything other than that. Margaret White, very unstable and very creepy, and I like that movie. Besides everything else going on with Carrie and the catharsis of the revenge thing that happens, I really liked Carrie for that reason. That is my favorite unstable mother of horror, probably, although there are a lot of them. Which horror mother really disturbed you with her story? So this is a bit of a different one, because this is from a children's movie and an animated one, and that is The Other Mother from Coraline. If you don't think this movie is horror, then you were very wrong, because this movie traumatized me the first time I saw it. I basically said I would never watch it again, and of course now it's one of my favorite movies, so that was a lie. So the other mother in Coraline is not Coraline's actual mom, even though she claims to just be her other mom in this alternate world that she has found. She is just super, super nice, to the point where it's too good to be true, and she's already got the uncanny valley thing going on with her button eyes. As soon as Coraline starts to realize that things aren't right, and we get the scene where the other mother basically morphs in front of her, it just sort of, it pushes you out of this comfort zone of the world as it's supposed to be, and it's just, the other mother is really sort of taking this sort of super affectionate, loving mother and twisting it into this creature that wants to basically take their lives out of the life that they already have. And it also has that element of the doppelganger, which I've always found really disturbing, where someone that you are close to may not be human, actually, which is why Coraline disturbed me in the first place, and it's why the concept of the doppelganger creeps me out at all. It doesn't as much now, but it used to really creep me out, which is why I chose the other mother for this part. How about the tragic side of the Dark Mother? Name a horror mom you kind of felt sorry for despite what happens in the film, and tell us why you picked her. So I chose Lucy Harbin from the movie Straightjacket, and this is a black and white William Castle movie. William Castle's movies are crazy gimmicky, but I love them. And in Straightjacket, Lucy Harbin is basically this average mom. She goes out one night, and basically her husband is cheating on her, and she walks in on him having an affair with another woman, and she snaps and chops both of their heads off, and does this in front of her daughter, no less, which scars her a little bit, but more on that later. Following that, she is committed to this mental institution, hence the title Straightjacket. And then, okay, my cat is in my closet. This is my cat, Moriarty. Okay, you want to be done now? Okay, bye. Lucy Harbin is released from prison several years later. Her daughter comes back to greet her, and she's trying to get her life back to the stable place that it's been in before. But she's sort of is super worried about what people think of her following the murder that she committed, and she's hearing voices, and she is essentially thinks she's going crazy, and is apparently lapsing back into this psychotic state where she's killing people and then snapping back into her stable state and not realizing what she did, which is very tragic and something you can sympathize with on its own. But, and this is a big spoiler, so heads up, this is not actually what's happening. What is happening is her daughter is taking on the appearance of her and committing these murders. She's got like tapes with voices that she's been hearing and just kind of pretending not to hear them, and just doing all these other things to manipulate her life to make other people think that she's still crazy and to make her think she's still crazy and killing people herself. She is a dark mother, but she isn't. She is at first, and her daughter is kind of pushing her that way, but she's not. She is not the villain of the story. That is a really interesting movie, and I love the twist in it, and this is why I picked Lucy Harbin from Straightjacket. Who is the goriest, most violent horror mom ever, and why? Now, I don't think my pick is the goriest, most violent ever. The Horror Miser Monty G picked, what's her name from Dead Alive, and Dead Alive is crazy gory, so I don't think I could top that. When I initially heard the term Dark Mother, where my mind initially went was the three mothers from Dario Argento's movies. Mater Suspiriarum, Mater Tenebrarum, and Mater Lacrimarum. I was sort of thinking maybe I could do Helena Marcos, the witch from Suspiria, because Suspiria is crazy violent and has some of my favorite kills in a movie ever. But despite her literally having this mother title, I don't really feel like she truly embodies the Dark Mother archetype, because she's really just more sort of this witchy presence throughout the movie and not really established as this mother figure. But I was thinking about Argento, and I remembered, again, major spoilers, another legitimate dark mother figure from an Argento movie, which is Martha from Deep Red. I've already spoiled basically all of Deep Red by saying this, because Deep Red is a murder mystery, and there are all these very brutal murders happening. I'm trying to remember some good examples. You have a classic Argento woman pushed through a window by a black-gloved killer. It's in this movie, it's in Suspiria, it's in Phenomena. Argento just likes doing that. You've got the sort of scalding bathtub kill, which is one of the most sort of gut-wrenching in the movie. The visceral getting slammed into the corners of everything in the room kill. Pretty brutal and violent. Not the goriest in the world, but very violent. We've got lots of suspects throughout the movie, but it is eventually revealed that it is Martha who is the mother of this character that we've been hearing about. And the killer is just sort of constantly referring back to this violent scene on a Christmas day where this man was stabbed on Christmas Day. We don't really know the details, we just know that that's part of it. But it's eventually revealed that it was her stabbing her husband because he wanted to have her committed to an institution. And not the most fleshed out dark mother character, but she is a dark mother and she's crazy violent. So I picked her for this one. Who is the most maternal of the horror moms? I agree with Kweeny and with Monty on this one. I think Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th is definitely the most maternal horror mom, literally killing for her son. But you can kind of watch their videos and hear what's been said about them already. So I am going to talk about two honorable mention horror moms that I thought were very maternal in their own weird ways. First, I thought I'd mention the Woman in Black. This is a character who kills children because she lost her own son. So it's just sort of this revenge thing, and it's very creepy, but you know it's just sort of this tragic thing that's happened to her son, so she's coming back as a ghost and taking it out on all these other children, and creepy little concept, you know, she's doing all of this for her son. So she's pretty maternal, not as maternal, I think, as Pamela Voorhees, but I thought I'd throw that out there. And then another, even kind of stretching it more, one that I just thought I'd throw in because I thought of it, was The Giant Claw from the movie The Giant Claw, which is a 50s sci-fi horror movie. And The Giant Claw is definitely not a dark mother in the traditional sense. The Giant Claw is not even human. The Giant Claw is a giant bird made of antimatter that is going around grabbing people from off the ground and blowing them up because antimatter and matter don't mix, and, you know, just wreaking havoc. It's sort of a giant monster type movie. The Giant Claw looks ridiculous, but I love it. But as the Giant Claw is sort of flying around the world and they realize what the pattern it's making is, it is causing all of this carnage because it wants to make a nest. I think basically causing worldwide chaos and destroying people and cities just because you want to create a safe environment for your kids to grow up is pretty maternal. So I picked The Giant Claw as an honorable mention for that one. Those are my picks for Dark Mothers, but the final question is, why is horror the best genre to tackle this heavy subject matter? I think it's the best for this for the same reason that it's the best to tackle most kinds of heavy subject matter. Horror, while it can, you know, be sort of this fun, fantastical, escapist thing, as with movies like The Giant Claw, it can also, you know, dive into uncomfortable topics that you wouldn't want to explore in any other way, but do it in this setting of a film which is somewhat non-real, so you can sort of escape into this story but deal with these really dark topics at the same time, which is, the beauty of horror to begin with. I think horror is just the best place to really talk about any kind of heavy subject matter in a way that is somewhat approachable. Even though I don't really like the super extreme horror stuff, I understand why it exists. So that is my entry to Kweeny Todd's Dark Mothers of Horror tag. Please check out their channel. I will try to link the playlist they are making of entries to this so you can see what everybody else is talking about for this Dark Mothers of Horror tag. I am going to do what Queenie and Monty did, which is to tag anybody who is subscribed to me or is watching this. I'm not going to single anybody out, but if you want to do this, I'm interested in seeing what you do, and I'm sure the other people who have done this tag probably are too. So thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in another video. Bye.
Hail to the Queen of Red Delights, malefic and tragic on the strings of her magic, screaming through the night. She is sex and evermore, the centerville in the glittering city of Virgin and a whore for the horns of blasphemy. She's a mother of war. She's a lover of